All right, let's move on to the other Saturday game.
Go ahead.
A battle of to determine the one seed. And it was a defensive slugfest, which and the theme of JP's 2026 kind of resolution. I believe we kind of were all over this being a bit of a slugfest defensively. Am I not wrong, or do I have that flipped backwards?
Not me.
Okay, I guess I
I
should
had
maybe go
this
back and
as
watch it.
a shootout.
Then I have it flipped, so we're not tooting our own horn here. We were wrong. It was a defensive slugfest, and Seattle wins 13-3. Obviously, 3 points, no defensive or no touchdowns for the 49ers. Tough McCaffrey drop towards the end zone that turned into a pick. Some unlucky things to happen. But this ruins Seattle's chance of playing at home throughout the whole playoffs. They don't have home field advantage. Obviously, they get to the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl will be in their home stadium. But y'all's thoughts on this game? Anything y'all saw that holds bearing for the playoffs? I don't really feel any differently about these two teams personally. It was just kind of a hard-fought football game between two good teams.
It's really important because the game is important for the path.
Correct.
Let's just think of Minnesota and Detroit last year. Detroit ends up losing that game to Washington anyway, but they got the bye. They got the home field advantage. And Minnesota had to go on the road and play in Arizona because of the LA Fires. It'll be no different. Like San Francisco, because of their loss, now has to go to Philly. And Philly hasn't lost a home playoff game in a long while. So that's just not going to be easy. In fact, they haven't lost a home playoff game in at least 4 years. They've been really dominant at home at Lincoln Financial Field. San Francisco's gone and lost there before. If they're somehow to win that game, they're more than likely going to play in Seattle, a team they just lost to, and they have to go play in their building. You're more than likely looking at home or road games the whole way. It also, like for the NFL, like Sanders was saying earlier, or just a second ago, where the spreads are so much closer, you win and lose games so easily. Things flip so quickly. And so the difference between getting to play 2 games and 3 games is unbelievably impactful. It doesn't seem to be holding like the same kind of weight in the college football playoff right now, and maybe that'll bear out as we get more and more years of it. But in the NFL, it's extremely impactful.
Sure.
Number 1 overall seeds make the Super Bowl roughly 2 out of 3 times. That's roughly 66%. So it's a huge difference in percentage chances to go to the Super Bowl. So it's really important for San Francisco and Seattle. From this game in particular, it puts a lot of people. I think it puts more people in the NFL in perspective of how good the Seattle defense is.
Yeah.
Because San Francisco was cooking for weeks in a row. Brock Purdy, the last 2 weeks, had 5 touchdowns in each of those 2 games. He has no touchdowns himself in this game. San Francisco doesn't even score more than 3 points in this game. That's at home. That's with playing as hot as you've been. That's with George Kittle returning. All of those things. It didn't matter. So it was really a huge showing from Seattle's defense. They controlled this game the whole way. You could tell with the way Mike McDonald and Seattle were playing aggressively offensively that they had full trust in their defense, which to have full trust in your defense like that, that's just going to make you play so much better, both offensively and defensively. Seattle really should have blew them out of the water. Of course, you have all the missed opportunities, missed field goals, turnover on downs on that first drive. So that defense, it's 100% championship caliber. And it's going to be the same story with the other 1 seed in Denver and Bo Nix as it will be with Seattle and Sam Darnold. And that I think for those two teams, quarterback play is going to dictate, whether or not these two teams win the Super Bowl. And a huge problem for Sam Darnold this year didn't bear out in this game, but it's been turnovers. He has 20 turnovers this year, which is more than games played. That's more than 1 turnover a game. 1 turnover may be the difference in one of these playoff games. So, and he has not been cooking as of late either. You go back to prior to the Rams game where he threw 4 picks, he was averaging roughly like 250 plus passing yards per game. Since then, he's averaging roughly 225. So their passing numbers are down. That's with the addition of Rashid Shaheed. JSN was on a record pace, no longer the case. Um, I think it's going to be a question going forward. And so, like, for that to be a really important piece for Seattle, for them find success in the run game like they did in this game, I think it's
Yeah,
going to give them the confidence that it may not matter. That's a difference between them and Denver, really. Denver doesn't excel at running the football like Seattle can. Denver doesn't have the running backs that Seattle does.
sure.
I think I'm probably going to end up picking Seattle to be in the Super Bowl when we get to our playoff, prediction show on Thursday. It's because they are finding ways to run the football. Like, and it's not just like 4 or 5 yard carries. They'll hit some big ones too. Like they will find holes. If you remember at the beginning of the season, coming into the season, what was the big question with Seattle? Was it was going to be what was Sam Darnold going to be and offensive line play? Gray Zabel, I think, like if offensive lineman could get rookie of the year, give him the rookie of the year. They've been dealing with injuries on that
Yep.
front too. Like Charles Cross doesn't play in this game.
Got his money though.
He Mississippi State, yeah, got his money, got extended. Another Bulldog paid. The best in the state come to state, and then they get paid. So for them to have like find so much success in the running game and passing game this year has been really incredible. And I think they're really dangerous because of that. Like the 3rd and 16 is so demoralizing that they are able to just hand it off to Kenneth Walker on a little toss, and he picks it up. Charbonnet has a 27-yard carry in this game.
Yeah.
That run game paired along with that defense is going to be championship caliber. And so I think Seattle's the team to beat in the NFC, which is like that's not a huge take because of the 1 seed, but with how many good teams are in that conference, it would appear I think it's point blank them. Like if Sam Darnold is not forced to throw the football like we talk about with like Carson Beck in Miami, because they can run the football and hold other teams to so little points. Look for Seattle to be back in that building here in 4 weeks.
I think that's really well said. It they don't they don't need their passing game to win games, and it's pretty nice to not have to rely on Sam Darnold because I wouldn't want to personally. Anything to add, Sanders? Or we
Sure.
good to move on to the highlight of the week, and at least for me, and I
Yeah.
think it's a little crazy if it's not your highlight of the weekend.
No, I think I'm ready. This game didn't.
Okay.
I think these are two really good teams, so I'm not gonna take away anything negative from a matchup of two really good teams.
And we're gonna talk about them both Thursday too. Like we'll be able to give more thoughts then.